our product can reduce the ammonia production up to 21%. However, we never go as low as 21% reduction, because this lack of nitrogen can be detrimental for microorganisms, for other classes of microorganisms. But we know with just a 5 to 10% of ammonia reduction, you can do wonders. You can reduce MUN levels, you can increase protein utilization, you can have more metabolizable protein in intestine, at the end more milk, with a little bit more energy in the rumen. So this is one part. The second part, we know that our product from in vitro, but also in vivo trials, we know that our product can reduce methane production. Right now, this is very popular in Europe. It's becoming popular in United States. So this greenhouse gas control, reduction of methane production, and so on. Right now, we know that this spins around 13%, 1-3. So from in vivo trials, with trials on living cows, we know that this is about 13%. So we show that in a trial. We took two groups, the first one without, the second one with the product. We did measurements of 3 days before trial, then 14 days we implemented a product in faramatan D group. On last 3 days, we measured twice a day, we measured the gas production. Then we had a 7 days, we call it like a washout. Then we increased the dosage just to see the dynamics of methane production with our product in the rumen. So what we found out, that with 40 grams per cow per day, you can see the reduction in methane production of 13%. So this is comparing day 14, day 0, faramatan D, control group, 13%. If you look at just faramatan D group, start and end of the trial, it's getting closer to 23%, but comparing to control is around 13%, it's 0.01, and it's pretty decent. So it's not the best, but it's very good in reducing methane production. This is something that you can see in all the other papers. Everyone that sees 13% say this is okay number for dairy cows. This is very good number. At the same time, we proved that our product can also have the effect on milk. So in the literature, this is called methane intensity. So if you show the methane reduction through the function of milk production. So in this way, we could see that our product, comparing to control group, can even, because these were mid-lactating cows, so the usually milk curve goes like this. But you can see here that they maintain production, and some in the end of the experiment even increased production comparing to control. So not just methane production, but also methane production and the milk production. These are a couple of trials that I just want to show you what we did in different parts of the world. For example, I told you that sometimes we can play with the ration. In United States, we reduced soybean meal, this is called soy best, and blood meal, and just supplemented this with corn silage. And here you can see this is not the correct number. So yeah, increased milk production, increased milk production and reduced somatic cell counts. So in this way, we can see, so if you compare the initial and the final level of this blue line, you can see around 5% of increase in milk production. You can see about 26% of reduction in somatic cell counts. In these specific trials, the amount of milk fat and protein stayed the same. So protein is like a true protein, not a crude protein. Here, so what's interesting with this product is not just the total somatic cell count is reducing in the farm. It's the structure of cows with the high somatic cell counts and low somatic cell counts. So you can see before you had a pretty decent number of these cows that have more than let's say 300,000 or 500,000 somatic cell counts. In the 4-month trial period, you can see the serious reduction of cows that have somatic cell counts higher than 400,000. If you ask me why, this is because of this antioxidative and let's say immune stimulating effect that tannins can have. And usually you have problems with cows that are on the before dry period and cows in the first couple of weeks after calving. Usually in those cows you can see the problems with somatic cells. This is a second trial from United States. It's from University of Minnesota. You can see again reduction of somatic cell counts about 30%, and you can see increase in milk production. So this was 7th of August when they had a big, like a heat stress. So in the July and August, and you can see how faramatan D is acting in the times of a heat stress. You will see these orange dots are pretty higher comparing to control group. So cows can cope better with heat stress when they have faramatan, again, thanks to this antioxidative defense. In Mexico, we try to do similar things. We reduce soybean meal and cottonseed. We just supplemented with a corn silage because that was the cheapest energy source. And again, you can see increase in milk production. In this was a 60 days period, trial period. You can see increase in milk protein percentage by 0.1 unit. You can see reduction in MUN. So their MUNs were pretty high, were about 14, because soybean meal, they used a lot of soybean meal as a, let's say, the only source of one of the main sources of protein in their feed, because alfalfa hay, they use it very small amount of alfalfa hay, and they are basically dependent on soybean meal. So we reduced MUN level with faramatan D. We tried to see what effect that we can have in Israel, because when we came there, they said, okay, be careful what you are saying about your product, because Israel is the country with the highest average milk production in the world. So their farms are 40, 41, 42 liters and plus in average. So we said, okay, let's see what we can do in heat stress. They said, okay, let's try it 15 days before expected heat stress and do a trial for a 60 days so we can see what we can do. So you can see that average was about 43 liters with 130 days in lactation as like an average for our group. Our group is a green one, the first one. Control groups on this farm were lower. So you can see, even for this 60 days, if you start on the time, so their heat is coming a little bit earlier than in our countries. So in May already the temperature is about 36 degrees. So you can see the trend line of our group is increasing here, comparing to trend lines in other group, which are usually declining or staying on the same level. But if you recalculate this on a fat corrected and fat and protein corrected milk, you will see that there is a good stability in milk production and milk components during the heat stress period, comparing to control, when the milk components are going lower, especially milk protein and milk fat, and milk production is going down. So this was very good for us. This was very good marketing for us, for all the other countries. If you said that you have a good positive response in Israel, everyone is listening. So we did a little bit opposite thing in Russia. We have no heat stress, around 23 degrees, pretty good average production on this farm, around 15,000 liters in 305 days. And they wanted to challenge us and gave us, they call it like a super group. So they form a group of cows 50 liters and higher. So they gave a super group just to see what we can do. But look at the days in milk. It's average 58 and 60. So these cows are more or less, at least 50% of these cows in this group are more or less still in negative energy balance. Still. So we can see, remember the story about transition period, very important. With the influence in transition period, with the positive influence in the transition period, especially thanks to protein and energy supply, you can expect higher milk production in the peak of lactation. So we prove that also. We know that our goal is about 1.5 liters of better milk production in the peak of lactation. Because if you have 1 liter in peak of lactation, that means around 250 liters in a standard lactation, okay? If you have it 1.5, so it's 350 liters. So with just 1 liter increase, you can get a good production recalculated on a complete milk period. So I will finish with this. We know that Clostridia is a very, very big issue on all dairy farms in all of the world. The difference is just in the knowledge of a farm manager and veterinarian about Clostridia. So sometimes the knowledge is lower, then the problems are lower also. You know, if you don't see anything or if you don't recognize, you say that there is no problem. But for people that know about Clostridia, they can recognize this Clostridia on their farms, and they know that this is a big problem. Not just indirect damage like mortality of cows, but Clostridia is extremely important in economic losses because milk production will go down. Problem with legs will increase. The problem with digestion will increase. The high ammonia production thanks to Clostridia is causing other metabolic diseases. So clostridiosis is an extreme economic problem. So we know that our product is very good in the lab in suppressing Clostridia production. This is in Clostridium perfringens, so reduction of the number of Clostridia, Clostridium sordeli. But we also know that our product can reduce the toxin production. So both reducing the number of Clostridia, but also reducing the toxin production. These graphs are showing just comparison of our product with competitors' product on the market. Again, very good. And not just recently, but let's say more or less 15 years ago, 16, we found out that our product can help in acidosis control. So this is not a buffer. This is not sodium bicarbonate. This is not magnesium oxide. It can help. How? By also reducing the population of bacteria. It's called Streptococcus bovis. So high lactic acid producing bacteria. If product can control the production of these bacteria, it can control the level of pH by controlling the level of lactic acid. So we use this effect in first 2 weeks after calving. Why? Because, you know, in the first 7 days after calving, there is something that is called transitional acidosis. This is like a physiological state. Cows are going to acidosis, they go and come back from acidosis. Some cows will go into acidosis and don't come back for a certain period of time, then they get into ketosis, then they have problem with displacement of abomases, endometritis, and so on and so forth. So our product serves as a way to, let's say, prevent this higher acidosis problem in the transition period. Though, so just a plastic explanation, we conducted a trial in Belgium. We fed our cows with highly acidogenic meal. So usually this is like a wheat meal or barley meal with some molasses. You give them in 8 a.m. in the morning. So you can see the drop in pH in control and chestnut group. But you can see in chestnut group that coming back to a normal pH is much faster comparing to control. Why? Because initial level of Streptococcus bovis was lower. So there were not enough of lactic producing microflora to produce all this lactic acid when faramatan is present in the rumen. This is also important for us in fattening animals. We have this kind of strategy in fattening animals, especially in the United States. When animals are coming to a feedlot, in that moment, they get faramatan, and they are getting faramatan 4 to 6 weeks. Why? Because they want to prevent acidosis problem in this first 1 month. But in the case of dairy cows, we like this effect just in first 1 or 2 weeks. It's excellent. So this was something that's more practical about faramatan D. So not highly scientific. If you want high science, I can send you everything that you want. This was like a more practical that you can, let's say, relate, or you can bind to some scientific facts that you already know. I'm sorry, I'm on a farm. Just to close the window to have a. Sorry, noise. So now if you have any question, we go easy, slide by slide if you want.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peter, for your presentation. And we have already sent you an email. I'm writing down in the box to you to reference. We got some questions, 4 questions regarding to the presentation and also for the PPT. And then could you just see it and have some reply for us? Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I didn't get.
Can you see the chat? Can you?
Excuse me, if I may, Dr. Fu and I, we gathered some more questions, and if you allow it, I can present it right now.
Sure, please.
Okay, let me share the.
I will stop sharing here.
Okay, thank you.
Should I give you, or you already have?
Yes, sorry, it's okay. Yeah,
hold on.
Sure, you can. Jeff, and also I share 4 questions in the chatting box. You also can share with Dr. Peter.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, excellent. So these are some questions we've gathered, and some of the questions you have already answered in your presentation, but I would still like to go through it with you.
If sure. These are excellent questions. So can I answer on the first one?
Of course, absolutely.
So yeah, we talked about this, and I know this is something that Mr. Lawrence from South Africa got also but in poultry. So yes, it can slow down a little bit the passage rate, so the motility of intestinal intestine. But in ruminants, when you compare the length of just intestinal system comparing to poultry, this effect is more or less irrelevant. So we haven't found any proof, both in the literatures and in our trials, that in adult ruminants, tannins can reduce the motility of intestine. In poultry, yes, short digestive tract, very short digestive tract. Maybe because of that, the influence. Here you have a rumen. then you have an intestinal system with a quite complicated and long intestinal length. So we haven't found any proof that in ruminants, this product can slow down the motility. So I'm sorry, but I don't have any information right now. There is no information in the literature, but also from our trials that in ruminants, you can see this effect. In poultry, yes, but in ruminants, I'm sorry, but no.
Okay, so this is excellent because this question is actually provided by a farmer. He questioned that because for them, the rumination time is very important. You want your cows to regurgitate more.
Of course.
So their understanding is that the passage rate of gastrointestinal tract is positively correlated to rumination time. So that is their biggest concern. But yes, thank you. You have answered the question. Thank you.
And like additional explanation to your farmer. So when you see so the not rumination time, but the time when some component is having in the rumen is limited and more or less is fixed. So this is like a washing machine. If you see the trials with tannins, you can see that there is no effect on the constant the constant rate, the passage rate. So they have like more or less the same control and tannin group, more or less the same time when some protein or some starch or whatever is spending in the rumen. So there is really no effect, especially on rumen function.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So would faramatan D affect energy synthesis? Yes, I explain you. Do we need to add more carbohydrates to feed? Basically, no. If you add faramatan D on top. So what we know from now, we know that if the amount of if the percentage of crude protein in the TMR is higher than 16%, you can just add faramatan D on top and expect the result. If the amount of protein, crude protein especially in feed, is lower than 16 or 15.5, you need to be very careful when recommending the product. Why? Because you can work, to be honest, you can work.
Hello? Is it me or is it?
Dr. Peter's signal is not so well. Yeah.
It's frozen.
This will define the production of this cow in next 300 days of lactation. Okay, that's why I would ask you just to a little bit research more from our presentation, but also in the scientific literature or whatever, just to focus a little bit more on this transition period, because this health in first couple of weeks after calving is extremely important. I know it's very hard to explain to a farmer. If you say, okay, this will have a positive influence on the health, he'll say, okay, I can't see it, and so on and so forth. But I guarantee you, if the farmer is using this product more than 2 months, and if he pays attention on fresh cows, he will see the difference. He will see the difference for sure. So it takes a little bit more time, but this is very important. Not just bypass protein, but also this antioxidative defense immune system function.
I see. May I follow up on your recommendation? You said 21 days before calving and 30 days after. So that's a 51 days period. Would you only recommend using the product during this period, or would you also recommend they continue using faramatan D after 30 days?
Yeah, I mentioned this period because this period is related to transition period. Usually the farms are organized like this. They have a close-up, then they have a calving pen, or where cows spend a couple of days after that. Then they have a fresh group. This fresh group is usually up to 21 or 30 days after calving. So I told you just about this transition period, but what is our general recommendation? Our general recommendation is to have product at least 100 to 120 days in lactation, because you will cover all important phases in lactation. Transition period, peak of lactation, very important, and this period when cows should be inseminated, because energy supply and the oxidative defense is extremely important for reproduction. So we want to cover all the important phases: transition period, fresh cow, peak of lactation, reproduction time. So that's about 3 to 4 months. So I would say that, let's say, the least period, if you want to see good benefits, is about 3 to 4 months in lactation. Then you can stop. However, we have farms that are using the product for complete lactation. Why? Because they need a protection from this 150 days and afterwards. If they have problem with Clostridia, they would use it on all cows. You know, this kind of stuff. If they have, usually it's Clostridia problem.
All right, I see. Then my questions are done. I'll give the time back to everyone else.
Thanks.
Okay, Peter, I got one question. You just mentioned about the transition time, right? And the transition time is regarding to the calf just birth, right? It means the transition.
No. Usually transition time is defined 3 weeks before calving. Usually this is the second phase.
3 weeks
before calving, 3 weeks after calving. So 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after. Usually this is called like a transition period, at least in American literature. This is like
just everybody just have a note. Transition period is 3 weeks before calving and 3 weeks after calving. So total it would be about 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Well, after calving, it can go up to 8 weeks. But usually 3 weeks before, 3 weeks after, this is something that is considered as a transition period.
Okay. Then if we want to sell to in some new client we just approach, what kind of the indicators during this 6 to 8 weeks of the period, that what kind of the indicators that he can observe that maybe just maybe the SC, just maybe the diarrhea or anything that is improved a lot, that for the farmer perspective they can feel this product can really help them. What's the indicator they can observe?
Understood. So what are the indicators? Usually farm, if you have a big farm, usually people that are employed on the farm or veterinarian will follow the level of ketone bodies on day 7 and day 14 after calving. Yes. So usually it's either 7, either 14 days, so 2 weeks after calving, you can follow the level of ketone bodies. Why? Because, again, it depends upon the knowledge. So if you see the clinical ketosis, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What are we interested in? We are interested in subclinical ketosis, something that you cannot see, but economically is killing you. The production is going down, dry matter intake is not so good, and so on. So that's why usually veterinarians are controlling the ketone bodies level on day 7 or on day 14. So if you control ketone bodies level, you will see that with faramatan D, you will have a lower number of cows with subclinical ketosis. So if the farm is struggling a little bit with ketosis, this is be one of the good indicators. The second one would be reducing the percentage of cows with mastitis in first 1 month after calving because of the immunity issues. So ketone body level, mastitis percentage at first 1 month, milk production will increase comparing to the period when he did not use. Why? Because energy supply is better. And if he continues to use the product after 1 month or 2 months, he will see also benefits in reproduction. But for the period that you mentioned, ketosis, percentage of mastitis, reduction of somatic cells, increased milk production. So these 4 things he can easily follow.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
But again, this is like a good start. I would not finish with 1 month. I would say, man, this is a good start. But all the benefits you can see after 2 months because, you know, the peak of lactation and everything. In these first months, we are preparing your cow. You know, we are training your cow for the race, and race is a peak of lactation.
Okay. So during the transition period, the recommendation dosage would be around 40 grams per cow per day, right?
Yeah, we usually use 20 grams before
20
calving.
grams. Okay,
And 40 grams after calving, depending on the production level. For example, if you have farms that don't produce a lot of milk, for example, if the average production is lower than 30 liters, then you don't need to use 40 grams. Then 35 grams or 30 grams would be enough. I will send you, I also sent you before, but I'll send you again with this presentation. We have something like a instruction manual for faramatan D with the limitations. So the situation where you can or you don't need to use faramatan D with the dosage. I will send to you. So
thank you so much. And after this 6 to 8 weeks of transition period, after the recommendations also 20 grams per cow per day, or what dosage would be?
No, really, it depends upon the production level. So it depends upon the amount of protein actually that this cow gets. So for cow that is producing 40 liters, she will take 4.5 kilos of protein during the day. For cow that's producing 20 liters, she will take 2.5 kilos, depending upon the protein level. And everything is written in that document that I will send you. So don't worry, this is just like a general guideline, but very, very good general guideline.
Oh, very good. Okay. Anyone? And Jeff, I believe you got a question regarding to the trial design, right? Or you want to share with us?
All right. I thought I would share after the question. So recently we will be conducting an experiment regarding let me share the file.
Sure. I'm sorry, I will just kill the video but I will have a sound. Okay.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Sure. Excellent.
All right. So this is a very simple experiment. It's nothing compared to a scientific literature, but this is the best we can do at that particular farm. So
sure, but that's okay. So high MP, high somatic cells, high MP.
Right. So
high
let
MP.
me explain the.
Okay.
Yep. So the experiment will be a 2x2 factorial design where we will divide the factors with milk production and somatic cell count.
Sure.
So we divide it into 4 different categories. We use 30 liters of milk production as the dividing line for high and low milk production, and 300,000 somatic cell counts as the high and low parameter. So
excellent.
2x2, we will have 4 different groups, and we are hoping that by your recommendation, we will do 40 grams of faramatan D per day per head for 2 months. And the parameters we will be collecting during this period will be milk production, somatic cell count, milk fat, milk protein, lactose, urea, acetone, BHB, and also rumination time. So this is the yes. Would you say this is a okay experiment? Is there anything you would change or add on to it?
I would say this is an excellent setup. Just you need to take care. You need to take care about one thing, and this is days in milk. So because because the length of the experiment is 2 months, be careful about the days in milk. if the average production is 30 liters, you know, if you take days in milk 150, for example, or 160 days in milk, in 60 days, it can drop physiologically, not because of the product, but physiologically.
Okay.
So be careful about days in milk.
Be careful. Okay. So this is actually one of the biggest challenge to do this experiment, because this farm is not a big farm. They only have about 51 producing cows. So it's and it ranges from about 30 days to 200 or even more days in milk.
Sure,
so it's very hard to pick a certain milking period for the cows.
Can I suggest? I mean, you obviously have a knowledge in this, and that's not. Can I suggest then, if you're already using just 3 cows, can you then shift them from high MP to low MP? You know, to change the groups with and without product. Because if you have low number of cows, then you put them not couple of days, but certain period on the product, then certain period out of the product, then certain period on the product again. Then you can see the realistic situation on just 3 animals, because 3 animals are hardly for statistics. You know that, and it's very hard to do a statistic. But if you put it 15 days or 20 days, let's say 20 days on the product, 20 days off the product, or 10 days off the product, 20 days again on the product, then you can see how the how the milk production is going.
I see. So maybe I conduct the experiment. I let them use the product for a month, and then I take it off for another month, and then use it again for a month, and we'll see the change.
You don't need break. You don't need such a long break. You need break about 15 days. This is
15 days.
Enough washout period. Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Or if it's too complicated, you can do it like this. I mean.
Hello?
Yeah. Sorry, I can hear you. I just finished. So, yeah, if you're doing on the small repetitions and small number of animals, then maybe you can try with, on the product of the product, on the product. Then he can see, okay, on the product, she had this amount of milk. Of the product, dropped.
Okay.
On the product again, more milk. This kind of stuff.
Okay. I see. I understand. There is this because the parameters I show down here are actually, they only collect once a month. So that is a very big concern for us, because it's very difficult for us to collect all these data every 10 to 15 days. It's not practical here. So maybe, would you say it's a better plan if we do, let's say they have 50 milking cows. We don't divide them into these groups. We just give all of them faramatan D, and then we do it for 1 month, and then we cut it off for another month, and then we do it for another month, and then later we can sort the groups by ourselves.
Yeah, that would be also.
I see.
That would be also good. That's a practical way to show. That's a field trial. So nothing to do with 2.0, 3.3 design, but it's just a simple feed trial for a farmer. If you want
I see.
more scientific, then you need a little bit more repetition.
Yeah, I understand. It's a big concern.
Yeah.
So this, now I understand. So, thank you for helping.
No, that's okay.
Okay, Mr. Ken, I'm done.
Okay. About Dr. Fu or Johnny or Mr. Guo or even Yichen. If anyone got any question, you are very welcome. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question about the faramatan and the faramatan D. We know the faramatan also can bind to protein, so it can increase the bypass protein and inhibit the clostridium. So why we cannot use the faramatan to replace faramatan D? What is the difference between them?
Yeah. So as I told you, we used before. So in our previous previous work, we used just simple faramatan, so plain, pure faramatan. But you need a dosage to get the effect that we are satisfied. You needed a dosage about 100 grams per cow per day. So this 100 grams per cow per day can provide a good response in milk. However, sometimes it can make problems with palatability. So because the product will bind to saliva, sometimes cow can reduce dry matter intake. Okay, not significantly, but again, to affect your production. That's why we did the combination, to avoid these potential problems that that cows may have with a higher amount of chestnut tannins, just pure chestnut tannins. With chestnut tannins will affect one population of proteolytic bacteria, but essential oils, especially cinnamon aldehyde, will affect a little bit different population of proteolytic bacteria. So you will have synergistic affection. You will target different proteolytic bacteria populations with the chestnut tannins and essential oils. That's why effect is much bigger with a lower dosage. We want to avoid all the potential problems that may arise if you use just a pure chestnut tannin extract. Okay, that's why we use faramatan D. We have also organic herds where we use just pure faramatan, because pure faramatan is organic certified, and with organic herds we are using just a pure product. But with conventional, you know, we have a faramatan D which is proven good, and we, of course, we had trials that we compare both of our products, and we could see that faramatan D is much safer and better comparing to just pure faramatan.
Okay.
It would be much easier for us to, you know, and cheaper for us to offer just the material that we are producing. But in this way, the combination is something that has much better effect.
Johnny or Xiaoguo, any questions? Or Ethan, any question? You can type it. It's okay.
我有问题，但是可以帮我翻译吗？
请那个
像
Jeff
鸡的
帮你
话，
翻译。
好像鸡的话，原厂有给试纸让我们来测水质嘛。那在牛身上的话，我们也一样要做这个动作嘛。然后第二个问题是，那这样的话，一样那个清水管也是必要的吗？
但我们是
但它
粉的
这个产
粉的
品是
粉的
粉的哦，
产品。
这个不是水的哦。
哦，
对，这是粉的，这是粉的，所以没有关系。
不好用。
而且如果你用泡水的话，在牛的话，我这个之前就问过了，他们水管很大，不会塞。
啊，
那有没有什么前置作业是可以，就是根据他们的环境，因为他们环境不会是最理想的嘛？有没有什么可以改善？看到他们环境可以改的，然后可以让我们在用产品之前，先就是改善好之后更能见效果。
Okay. So Dr. Peter, our question is that before we introduce the product faramatan D, is there anything in the farm that you would recommend they improve or they change first, or is there any indicators that we should look for?
Yes.
Before we introduce the product, for example, if we enter a farm, we should check their housing first, or if we check their water system first. Is there anything we should do or check before introducing the product?
There are just two limitations. The first one is if you already can check the urea level of MUN. So if your MUN on the farm is lower than 7, so 7 and lower, that means that in the diet there is not enough proteins. So by adding additional faramatan D, you will get no benefits because there is not enough protein to be protected. So if MUN is 7 and lower, this is the first limitation, and the second limitation is actually acidosis. So if the farm is under big pressure of acidosis, usually we recommend to correct this acidosis by introducing some buffer or changing a little bit fiber level or whatever, then introduce our product. But this is also written in this guideline. So just two limitations. The first one is MUN level, so this urea level in milk, 7 and lower, and acidosis. If acidosis is pretty hard problem, and you can see with the milk fat. If your milk fat is lower than 3.5, that means that you have a milk fat depression due to acidosis, and that's the problem. Okay.
OK。好，他的意思是说，就是只有2个指标要看嘛。第一个就是乳的尿数量，如果浓度是低于7的话，那就是7 mgdl。那这样子的话，就代表它的配方中的乳蛋白的蛋白质已经过低了。那这个是真的是第一个要注意的事情。那第二个是它的这个症状就是瘤胃过酸了。那他刚才也提过这件事情，是说瘤胃过酸其实这支产品可以帮助你预防，但它不应该是要拿来当做是我可以治疗瘤胃过酸的一个产品。那所以如果这个厂已经长期有瘤胃过酸的问题的话，那会最推荐说先处理完这个问题，我们再来谈这支产品。
好。Johnny,
any more questions?
Yeah, Johnny, you have any questions? I got one question. Peter, is there any competitor products compare with faramatan D? And if so, how do you convince the customers to choose faramatan D?
Sure. So competitors' products are usually just tannin extract, quebracho tannin, chestnut tannin, tara tannin, mimosa tannin, whatever. But usually your competitors will be the guys that are offering just tannins. And I explained you, that's why we don't use just a pure product, because we know that faramatan D you get much better synergistic effect, much better outcome comparing to the pure product. So how to deal with this? It's very hard because your competitor will come and say, I have also tannins cheaper. Okay, I will use the same amount of product, 30 grams, just 30 grams, but it's cheaper. Yes, but it is just an extract, no additional effects from essential oils, and no effects on milk production comparing to faramatan D. I know it's very hard when farmer hears, oh, the same and lower price. He just, you know, the way to deal with this is a complex product. Just 30 grams of a pure extract will not work, but the combination is something that is giving this product the power it has. Combination, essential oils and chestnut tannins. So these are your competitors, guys that are offering just a pure product, a pure extract. Nothing else. And you will hear a lot of non-serious recommendations. You just 10 grams, you just 20 grams, you just 30 grams. It's very cheap. It's the same. No, it's not the same. You know, you have Coca-Cola and you have 30 different types of drinks that are like Coca-Cola, but not exactly. You know.
Okay, and one more is regarding to if we want to doing business with a very big corporation, a very big company, sometimes they were concerned about your active ingredient, and this active ingredient will also affect whenever they want to have a bid. 投标叫 bid 嘛 ，Jeff， 投标叫 bid 嘛。Yeah, for example, like Taiwanese company, Taiwanese government. They own a company named Taiwan Sugar Company, and I believe some of the Southeast Asia or maybe Japan or Korea, they also got this kind of big companies. Is owned by the government, and usually they were doing the bid, and this is extremely important regarding to the active ingredient for the standard we provide to them. Yeah, what kind of the active ingredient or what kind of the maybe some maybe more, for example, like tannin or anything else, the spec. What kind of the spec you will you will provide them, and for them to doing the exam, and to let the supplier to giving the bid. Yeah, because it's extremely important. Yeah,
sure. If needed, we can supply. I think, I mean, general manager is also here, but this was never a problem. If something is needed for government.
No.
Predrag, little frozen. Yes, if I understand your question, everything what you needed for the registration is one thing. We can
sorry. Hello. Okay. So I'm so sorry. Again, the connection problems. So we have certificates for our active ingredients like tannins. We have all the certificates that we need. The level of each component in the product is well defined and always standardized. And if it's needed for some government checkouts or analysis, we can supply what's in the product if it's needed for a government. I think I'm right, Mr. Mirt.
Yes, you're right.
Let me explain more about this issue. For example, like they are very open to bid. So if you provide them, for example, like our product, our spec is tannin, then every competitor's company which they got the tannin ingredient, then they can join the bid. So it's very hard for us to compete. And so if you have a very specific, for example, like you just mentioned 尿食素味英文怎么讲 you said in USA or any very specific item that just we have, and the competitor they don't have this specific active ingredient, then we can use it as a standard. And we can just in the beginning we can prevent our bid. Then there would have no more competitors, so many competitors to join the bid. So is there any active ingredient or any spec regarding to this issue? Also, it's a very important to position our product. We can share the customer that, oh, we're not just a tannin product. For example, we because you mentioned that we are synergy effect, right?
Yes.
So maybe they got some any very specific term or item that we can position our product.
Yeah, that's very hard. You could claim that this ellagic acid, tannins, for example, or ellagic acid. But again, someone that is also trading with chestnut tannins can claim the same thing. So yeah, I think that's hardly something that you can do to find, because urolithins are in the intestine, so they are coming after metabolic change of tannins in the intestine. They are not in the product.
Okay.
And everyone that is trading with chestnut tannins will have the same claim that we have also, and something that is mutual for chestnut tannins and essential oils. I don't know how you can. I know what you're asking. We have the same problem in China.
I understand you very well. When we're talking about the active substance, we cannot say that we have some substance what is unique in the world, because chestnut tannin, they have also competitors. Essential oils you can find also on the market. But what we improving through the years when we dealing this product, in the beginning, we have essential oils just spraying on the carrier. But later on, we saw that we're losing essential oil because evaporated on the normal temperature, 20, 30, 35 degrees. And we decided that we change the process. This means that essential oil, the first we put on the carrier, and then we microcapsulate it, and then we granulate it. This means that through the process we change the procedure how we're working, and now is product more complicated than just simple active ingredients together. We find sometimes in some area some competitors make some copy of our product. I think especially in the Russia or White Russia, where they just put some essential oils that smelling and say, okay, this is the same that faramatan D. But no, when you're looking at the structure of our product, when we make the microcapsulated essential oils together with the tannin and then everything together granulated, then it's specific, and it's not made just very simple copy.
Yeah, so basically it's not the specific ingredient, but the specific process that is, with faramatan D. So yeah, it's a little bit hard. If you claim something that competition will claim also. I don't know.
Okay. Any question?
I'm good.
Johnny, come on. Johnny boy, come on. You got some question? Johnny, you turn on your microphone. Or you can just simply say, how are you? That's the question.
If I may,
太有问题吗？太影，
帮我翻看看好了，
好，
就
你用
是
Jeff
faramatan D 它有没有说不可以与什么东西或者是其他的添加剂会有冲突的，或者会产生拮抗作用的，类似这种。
Is there any ingredient or any other feed additives that you would strongly recommend not to add with faramatan D?
Basically, no. With ruminants, no, we don't have any kind of this problem. You can add whatever you want. In monogastric animals, sometimes iron can be an issue with the interference between tannins and iron, but the levels of iron in cattle feed is not affecting the functioning of the product. So no, you don't need to take care about anything if when it comes to ruminant feed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If I may follow up with earlier you said when you were talking about ellagic acid, you said that in faramatan D, our ellagic acid is much more bioavailable.
Yes.
And what makes our ellagic acid more bioavailable compared to other competitors? What is our special point?
Yeah, the specific process of getting the powder, a specific temperature, specific way to produce it, and that's production secret. So you need to believe on our word. Yeah, but actually we are investing a lot of effort to do this because we found out that can be the big factor, big game changer comparing to competition. And we are more and more working on that. So we know that bioavailability of our ellagic acid is quite good, and we know that that's a big issue.
I see. Okay, so if I may ask, I am not asking that you provide how you extract your product, but is there any certification or analysis that we can back up the claim to our customers? Because frankly, I believe what you say, but our customer may not believe what I say. So is there anything I can provide or you can provide that backs up the claim?
Yeah, I think we can provide some standard analysis that we do on our product. Mr. Mirt, I think that's not going to be a problem, like the level of ellagic acid or whatever we have it. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
We can do that.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, if no, thank you so much for Dr. Peter and Mr. Merge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you guys
you,
for
Peter and
attention.
Merge.
Thank you
Mr.
guys
Ken,
on fantastic questions.
Ken, from my side is just one thing very important, that you and your team have many questions. This is very important because they try understand the product. When I remember when we started 20 years ago with ruminants, we just put something on the top. We really don't know how they're working, and we have really mess with the results. Some usually was not any results. But now with all this experience with last decade, with Predrag, who has great experience, and your enthusiasm that you want working, I think that we can get the results. And what is really very important, what the Predrag say, when you start, it's very important that you exchange some information, not just say, okay, I just put 40 grams and I expect some result. It's better than you exchange formulation and see the structure of the feed, and then you, after this, I'm sure that you get some result. And from my side, I think that when you have test and question, that we can again have meeting and we can try to find.
Definitely, and use me. So this is my job. Use me. Whenever you have a potential farm, potential client, use me. Just send me the ration, ask whatever question you like. This is my job. Use me. It's easier to work together. Later on, you'll be the expert in faramatan, but from the start, just use me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, we also got we should have two more members join us. One is in Malaysia partner. Unfortunately, he just told me that he's busy. And another one, we got also another very big farm, the biggest farm, the dairy cow's biggest farm, is one of our very old friends. It's our classmate in university, almost 20 years. And unfortunately, he cannot join the meeting as well. So maybe in the long term, we should have this kind of training meeting more often, and maybe if really we need, maybe Dr. Peter and also Mr. Merv, you can visit Taiwan again, and also you live some more days. Yeah, we should invite you to ocean, the beach, and have some sightseeing and anything. Don't just walk. Don't just walk. Some night market and some food, some travel. This time
I already promising you that I riding my bicycles around Taiwan.
That's what
I remember that. I remember. Cycling. Yeah, we remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
guys.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.